7:12 a.m., April 18th, 2025, Austin. The kitchen light is low, the coffee machine ticks, and Luna kicks her heels against the high chair tray. Nora slides her phone across the counter, unlocks with a thumb, and opens an email that tilts the morning off its axis. Outside, April sun lifts over Austin. Subject: moving on. The attachment blooms. Brandon, coat unbuttoned, chin tucked toward a bright-haired girl about 24. Their arms lattice around each other. Behind them, the lake glints. Lake Travis House, the cedar deck Nora had sanded last fall. The door she had painted the color of ripe limes. He is smiling like the deed itself is a smile. The message is 3 sentences, clipped, corporate. The house is mine now. I've already moved in with Sierra. My lawyer will send the divorce papers. Don't bother fighting it. The deed is in my name. Steam wreathes the rim of her mug. Foam crawls over the porcelain lip and a dot of coffee trembles on the counter, then falls. Nora sets the cup back down, just off-center, like a coaster moved by half an inch. She doesn't speak. She lifts Luna's bib, smooths the edge where one stitch stands proud, wipes oatmeal from a pink sleeve. Her gaze lands on the framed photo by the fridge. White dress, navy suit, 2 faces catching late afternoon light. She taps the phone's glass once, twice, 3 times. Opens reply. Her fingers don't hover. They land. Are you sure about that? Better check the paperwork carefully. Send. Block. Silence fills the kitchen differently now. In the window, her reflection holds the phone lower than before. Luna bangs the sippy cup. A spoon kisses ceramic. Somewhere in the hallway, the thermostat clicks. Brandon liked to call it a tax optimization when he argued for his name on the title. He'd poured bourbon and spoken about efficiencies, thresholds, deductions, numbers spilling like dice. Nora had nodded once, then once more, then printed what needed printing. Documents slid into a folder: purchase records, corporate transfers, a declaration of beneficial interest with her signature. He never asked to read them. He liked headlines, not footnotes. On the island, the binder waits underneath a dish towel. She doesn't open it. Not yet. The corner peeks out, a tab labeled Title in block letters, a second tab marked Art, a third marked Cam. She walks to the sink and runs cool water over the coffee ring, circling until the stain lifts and the counter shines. When she returns, she opens the laptop instead of the binder. Password. Cursor. A quiet breath measured to 4, held to 4, let go to 4. A security dashboard unfurls. Green dots line a map. One grays out, then returns. She clicks, and in the split-second reflection of the screen, the framed wedding photo flickers again. The vows were short. The cake was lemon. The lake that day was a mirror. The house came later, paid in profits earned 1 order at a time, 1,000 small confirmations glowing on night screens while Brandon slept through notifications. Her phone buzzes against the wood. She ignores it. She opens the camera control panel for Lake Travis. 2 lenses, 1 wide, 1 tighter than habit. Audio toggled on. She doesn't press play. Not yet. She squares the salt and pepper, wipes the phone with her sleeve, nudges the chair. Outside, a boat engine fades. The coffee warms her hands. Plans stay unwritten. You're watching Crimson Heirs. If you love razor-sharp family revenge stories and gripping family drama stories, hit like, subscribe, and the bell, because the twist lands next. A new tab waits like an unopened envelope. Inside, an archive Brandon never knew breathes in neat folders and timestamps. Nora nudges the laptop an inch, squares a notepad, and counts to 4 before clicking. First, transfers, contracts, acknowledgements. Profit from her company, months of small orders, midnight replies, a garage-turned stockroom, walks line by line into a ledger. Lake Travis surfaces in memo fields like a steady tick. A cashier's check number repeats from email to bank to title company receipt. She doesn't narrate. The pages speak. She turns them with 2 fingers and a pause. 2 photos in a subfolder hold. The cedar deck, sun banded through rails. The door, lime bright, the tint she mixed while Luna slept on her shoulder. Property taxes, paid. Insurance proofs, filed. On paper and in pixels, the house arrives only after her invoices clear and freight reconciles. Brandon's mark appears once, on the public deed. Neat, practiced, headline only. She shifts to the browser and types Sierra's handle. The grid loads. A mirror selfie by the stone fireplace. Her fireplace. Captioned with a key emoji and a heart. Date stamp 8 months back. Another frame, the master headboard, one hand wearing a ring from a velvet box she knows by feel. Comments glitter. New chapter. Home sweet home. The ceiling fan she found on clearance spins in a looped boomerang. A link jumps to a private Facebook album someone forgot to lock. Group photos. Lake water winking. Sierra on the deck, steps in Nora's cable knit, sleeves shoved past elbows. A caption names Weekends at the Lake. The post lands on a Friday Brandon had called a working retreat. Dates stack. Weekends stack. The photographs build a calendar that overlays his travel claims perfectly. Two-factor for the banking app. The code arrives. The joint account earmarked for Luna's college shows a clean 0. 3 transactions within a day. A transfer to a brokerage she doesn't recognize. A sweep to a second institution. A final hop to an offshore name hard to say. No exclamation leaves her mouth. She presses her thumb, captures screenshots, and files them as neatly as she folds Luna's onesies. Flat, aligned, in pairs. She reaches for the lamp switch despite the noon-bright window. The bulb warms, a small circle of stage light over her hands. From a drawer, a box of cotton gloves. She pulls one on, smooths the cuff. The phone flips face down. In the laptop bezel, the framed wedding photo ghosts. She tilts the screen to move the echo away. Brandon once called her caution overkill. Bourbon in hand, he'd said, entrepreneur's romance risk. Nora archived instead, purchase records, council notes, a signed declaration of beneficial interest, then labeled tabs like a quiet map. She doesn't open every folder now. A fingertip points, barely, as though taking attendance. A narrator might say this is how many family revenge stories and family drama stories begin, not with shouting, but with file names and dates lining up too neatly. Nora adds nothing. Luna tests the sippy cup's valve and laughs at the squeak. Back to Sierra's grid for one last pass. The ring shots. The deck shots. The Fridays. The pattern holds. She exhales to 4. The cursor leaves the social tab and returns to the archive tree. Beneath title and art sits a third tab she hasn't touched today. The label is plain, black on white. She does not open it yet. Her cursor steadies above a folder labeled Cam Logs, waiting. Outside, a plane threads the high blue, and somewhere beyond Austin, the lake keeps its own quiet ledger today. Her cursor hovers over a folder labeled Cam Logs, steady as a metronome. Click. The archive resolves into timestamps, lens IDs, file sizes. Nora tilts the laptop to kill glare. The clock reads 12:03. Every line holds a breath, then lets it go. 2 feeds load. A wide living room, a tight entryway. Audio on. She scrubs the timeline. A marker at 6:41 p.m., 8 months back, aligns with Sierra's key emoji post. The door swings. Brandon enters. Sierra follows with a garment bag, her phone catching reflections. The deck beyond is lavender, another marker. Saturday, 10:18 a.m. Brandon lifts a framed canvas, catalog sticker still on the stretcher bar. In the entry camera's cone, the sticker flashes. Art, NV441. He angles it through the door. Sierra props the door with Nora's cookbook. In the living room feed, an invoice peeks from under a bowl. Nora pauses, zooms, saves a still. The header matches a vendor her company uses. She calls Noelle. Come by, bring seals. 30 minutes later, Maya arrives first. Hoodie, laptop, coil of cables. She takes the end of the island, opens a secure chat, and pulls network logs. IP traces bloom into a map. Failed attempts to reach Nora's business servers from Brandon's home laptop, then from a lake house IP. Maya builds a sandboxed gate that mimics the real portal and leads nowhere. Noelle follows with a gray folio and flats. She signs into Wi-Fi, then hands Maya a card. Split this network. Guest stays. House devices move to a private SSID. 2-factor everywhere. Fresh recovery keys. New admin roles with expirations. Noelle photographs the declaration of beneficial interest, flips to wire confirmations, then sketches a deal tree on a legal pad: money in, title out, control retained. They review the camera blocks together: dates, faces, objects. A small bronze figure disappears across 3 clips like stop motion. 2 canvases leave the wall between noon and 1. Brandon returns at 1:20 with an empty frame and packing paper. Sierra pours sparkling wine into Nora's short rocks glasses. The audio picks up glass on stone, the bright laugh people caption as effortless. 3 panes line Nora's screen: left, camera stills; middle, bank movements; right, social posts. Green ticks appear when time and object align. Empty boxes remain where patience will fill them. Brandon once called it tax optimization. Noelle writes the phrase at the top of the pad and underlines it twice. The house is reset. A locksmith changes the main lock. Noelle slides the cylinders into an evidence bag. The security firm adds a gate guard through Sunday. Maya renames the lake Wi-Fi, kills the old password, and exports a list of devices that ever connected. She labels an encrypted thumb drive, cam logs, and heat seals a strip across its case. Noelle initial signs the seam. Nora keeps her voice low. She squares the binder tabs: title, art, cam, until they read like a single word. She opens no drawer she doesn't need. Breathing stays on 4s. Luna naps. The baby monitor hums. The laptop chirps. New mail, high priority, emergency petition, ex parte request for temporary control. The sender line bears a firm she's never met. Her phone rings before she clicks. Unknown number. A man introduces a transition team for Brandon and asks if she has a moment to discuss interim control of her company's accounts. The cursor floats above open while the ringing continues softly. The ring keeps buzzing while the cursor hovers over open. Nora taps speaker and sets the phone beside the legal pad. Noelle lifts 2 fingers. Maya angles the laptop so all 3 can see. "Mrs. Caldwell," a measured voice says, "I represent Mr. Pierce's transition team. We're proposing temporary custodial access to your company accounts to ensure continuity. There will be an audit. You'll retain nominal control." Noelle flips a page and writes, "Who, what, when?" "Send the petition," Nora says. "It's already in your inbox," the voice replies. "An emergency ex parte request for temporary control, limited transactions, and a TRO preventing transfers. Hearing is Monday. Our position is simple. Your company's growth relied on Mr. Pierce's professional expertise and relationships." Nora presses mute, glances at the baby monitor, then unmutes. "You'll also receive a parenting proposal," the caller adds. "Given your workload, we question whether you can provide primary care. Mr. Pierce's partner has childcare experience. We want what's best." "Email received," Nora says, and ends the call. They open the petition. Dense bullets: custodial access to operating accounts, authority to pause payments pending audit, auditor chosen by Brandon's firm, TRO barring asset movement beyond payroll and taxes, expedited hearing. 2 paragraphs argue Brandon's network ceded key contracts and that Nora's scale depended on him. A proposed order attaches dates, judge initials, and a request for immediate service. Noelle underlines best interests in the parenting section and circles hearsay. "They're setting a story," she says. "We'll set a record." She slides the folio aside. "Next?" Maya's phone vibrates. "Internal memo," she says. "Draft press release for next month. Brandon to be named CFO." "Source?" Noelle asks. "Employee portal. Cached copy." The draft ties milestones to Brandon's leadership and notes his work on a merger. Boilerplate calls him a leader of visionary stewardship and disciplined scale. Which merger? "A target that competes with Nora's fulfillment model," Maya says. "As CFO, he'd touch vendors, pricing, flows." Nora opens a browser. Sierra Lane. The org chart loads, aligned to Harold Lane, CEO, Nice. "So the story tightens," Noelle says. She writes, "CFO plus Nice plus merger plus audit. Leverage, optics, risk." "We should expect renewed attempts on your servers," Maya says. "The false gate is live. If he tries, we log everything. Another ping from the same firm, a courtesy outline of custody terms. Nora doesn't open it. She pulls the monitor closer, checks Luna's chest rise, and flattens the knit blanket on the bassinet. Timeline first, Noelle says. And she draws a spine across a yellow page and dates it. Left, IG ring, deck posts. Middle, camera stills, art removal. Right, banking hops. Monday, hearing, lands at the far edge. Nora scrolls an archive of old emails. A subject catches. Need to vent. Brandon to a friend, 3 years ago. She opens it and reads. She doesn't take my advice. Doesn't need it. Her company's worth more than my salary. Noelle copies the quote. Add foundation, beneficial interest, transfers, invoices, Noelle says. Add motive, promotion, merger, family tie. Maya taps keys. Bait server armed, new admin keys issued, alerting tightened. Nora aligns a pen with the pad's edge and counts to 4. The cursor slides toward a folder named Insurance and stops there, a bright dot holding steady. An alert blooms at the screen corner, login attempt from the Lake House IP. The alert from the Lake House IP blooms again in the corner, a pulse on the screen. Maya doesn't rush it. She widens the bait gate and lets the session breathe. Keystrokes begin to write themselves. Username tries, password variants. A copy-paste of an old credential Nora revoked months ago, packet capture rolls. Hold steady, Noelle says, capping her pen. We want the log complete. Nora nods once. She moves nothing except the trackpad. A new window opens. A folder she hasn't touched in a year. Insurance. Inside, quiet thunder. Notes from years of portfolio work when Brandon asked her to organize his investments. Emails about targets written in the language of pressure. Side memos flagging conflicts between vendor selection and undisclosed stakes. A risk matrix mapping regulatory exposure. Screenshots of travel calendars overlap certain meetings. A spreadsheet traces round-tripped expenses. She scrolls without commentary. They start assembling the spine. The need to vent email goes first. Next, the declaration of beneficial interest. Then wire confirmations showing Nora's funds buying Lake Travis. Invoices for 2 canvases and a bronze purchased through her company. Camera stills with timestamps, a checksum list. Noelle sketches chain of custody and notes the clock on each system so the record will match. Board of Directors or Audit Committee? Noelle asks. Both, Nora says. They draft the letter in 3 layers. Executive summary. Attempted access to her servers, misuse of company property at the Lake House, apparent coordination by an officer candidate and the CEO's niece, and an effort to divert marital funds offshore. Actions requested are concrete. Suspend the CFO appointment. Secure an independent investigation, preserve devices and messages, place holds on deletion policies, protect whistleblowers, and notify regulators if findings warrant. Maya builds the attachment index. She numbers exhibits, embeds hashes, and places canary tokens into a decoy dataset the intruder is currently retrieving through the fake gate. The tokens will phone home if opened. She mirrors the live capture to an external drive and writes the hash on masking tape across the case. Click. Initials. Date. Timing matters. The board is bi-coastal. Noelle checks calendars and sets a delivery window that lands just after lunch in New York and mid-morning in San Francisco. A sealed copy addresses outside counsel in case the board stalls. An encrypted archive goes to cold storage with a passphrase only Nora and Noelle know. A second envelope sits stamped for a regulator she won't need if the board moves. Nora tests the laptop mic twice. 1, 2, 1, 2. And dots, Monday. Hearing on the paper calendar. She arranges 3 pens parallel to the pad's edge, aligns the laptop, then lifts a fingerprint smudge with her sleeve. The baby monitor's soft hiss holds the measure. Gate shows progress, Maya says. He thinks he's in. Let him, Noelle replies. On the camera timeline, stills flash by of Brandon moving art. A vendor logo is visible in one frame. Noelle marks it for the exhibits. Nora clips the still, saves, assigns the number, and places it into the packet with the quiet finality of a stamp. The draft settles into its final shape. Salutation. Summary. Facts. Exhibits. Requested actions. Signature line. They read it around. No adjectives they can't defend. No claims they can't support. The cursor rests on send. Across the room, the Lake Travis feed lights. The living room comes into view. Brandon, Sierra, and Harold, with flutes of champagne tilted toward the fan. The audio is very clean. To the future CFO, Harold says. And to an audit we'll control, Brandon adds. Sierra laughs, lifts her glass, and drops a single word that changes the air. Offshore. Nora's finger touches the key, then pauses. The screen holds its breath with her. The Lake Travis feed stays open, glass bright. To the future CFO, Harold said. An audit will control, Brandon answered. Offshore, Sierra added, tapping her flute. Nora's finger is still resting on send. She doesn't press. Not yet. Noelle notes the timestamp and circles it twice. Clip, checksum, duplicate. Nora drags over the selection box. The interface snaps to the endpoint with a faint click. She exports the original stream to the evidence drive, then a working copy to the desktop. Maya leans in, reading the meter on audio. Levels are clean. The file names grow methodically. LTLR 04181217A, LTLR 04181217B. Noelle writes the strings onto a form and initials the line. Following the money, Maya says, sliding her laptop beside the camera pane, from Luna's college account, zeroed yesterday. Jump 1 to a boutique brokerage. Jump 2 to a regional bank. Jump 3 to a foreign entity that masks its owners behind a trust. She sketches arrows on a small whiteboard. Gray, then darker, then black. Dates from Sierra's deck photos ride the top margin like guide stars. A chime from the bait gate. The intruder begins downloading the decoy dataset. Canary tokens sing back. Each open a ping with software fingerprint, machine language, IP blocks that match the lake house. Maya captures the screen, scrolls to show the sequence, and hashes the log. A second ping stacks, then a third. She watches without smiling, jaw set, and writes the hash again on blue tape across an external drive. Noelle updates the chain of custody. Add offshore as an appendix, she says. Request device preservation for Harold, Brandon, Sierra, lock deletion policies. Ask for an independent auditor. She flips the page and underlines preserve twice. Nora adjusts the chair a breath closer to the island. She aligns the legal pad's edge with the counterseam and lifts a strand of hair behind her ear. The cursor sits on send. Her lungs count 4 in, 4 held, 4 out. She glances at the wedding photo in the bezel's shadow, then returns to the feed. On screen, Brandon kisses Sierra's knuckles. Harold checks his phone, smiles, pockets it. They extend the 3-column board: camera, bank, social. New ticks bloom at 12:17. Champagne, statements, offshore. An empty square remains beside courtesy custody outline. Nora leaves it blank. Maya prints ready board on a red label and sticks it to the folder spine. Cold backups spin. The encrypted archive settles into a vault directory with a passphrase only 2 people know. A second sealed packet addresses outside counsel and regulators if the board stalls. Noelle checks the clocks. New York lunches soon. San Francisco is mid-morning. 12 minutes to hit both. The bait gate chirps again, softer. He thinks he's through, Maya says. Let him think so. She opens packet capture and widens the lens. The canary pings climb like quiet rain on a tin roof, regular, specific. Luna stirs and sighs. The monitor glows a pale square. Nora lowers the volume 1 notch, then steadies the laptop with her palm. The house feels narrower, like hallways have grown straight lines. This is how quiet family revenge stories actually move, through proofs, not speeches, today. A calendar alert fans out at the corner of the screen. Board. Urgent slot available in 12 minutes. Send waits where it waited before. The canary keeps singing. The cursor drops 1 millimeter, then stops. The alert sits at the corner like a small, blinking lighthouse. 12 minutes shrink to 1. Send still waits under Nora's fingertip. The canary pings, ticking like rain on tin. She looks at Noelle, then at Maya. A nod passes between them, spare as a stamp. She presses. Outbox flashes, then clears. 2 acknowledgments arrive almost at once. From the board chair, receipt confirmed, materials quarantined to a secure workspace, Further uploads by encrypted link only. From the Audit Committee, Holden acted. Please transmit signed chain of custody forms, device list, and hash values for every exhibit. A private bridge opens. Credentials pass across the screen like tide marks. A calendar pane slides forward. Emergency session, now. Inside the window, names appear with red dots turning green. General counsel, 2 directors from the audit side, a partner from outside counsel. The chair begins. We're pausing the CFO appointment pending review. Counsel, open the preservation order. IT, lock deletion across email, chat, mobile backups. Security, coordinate with local law enforcement to secure any company property at the Lake residence. Audit, prepare an independent engagement under privilege. Audit notes capture every procedural step. Mirrors ready, Maya says to the room, not the call. She pushes the signed logs, the packet captures, the canary table, and a crosswalk linking camera timestamps to bank movement and social posts. Noelle uploads the declaration of beneficial interest and the art invoices. Nora adds the stills with captions minimal enough to be facts. On the Lake Travis feed, the celebration curdles. Harold answers a call, color drains. He checks the doorway like wind could turn back time. Brandon opens email and goes still. Sierra's phone blooms with a flood of notifications. She tries to swipe them quiet, hand shaking. A photo of her ring flashes and vanishes. The champagne goes down half full, a line of bubbles trying to hold their shape. 2 SUVs stop in the gravel outside. Corporate security first. A black windbreaker flashes the company name. A deputy's cruiser idles behind them, lights steady, siren off, doors open, footsteps up the cedar steps. The audio catches Harold's voice tightening, then leveling into the tone executives use when they need reality to blink. It doesn't blink. Security identifies themselves, asks to preserve devices and to return any property belonging to the company that may have been removed. The deputy asks for cooperation and a quiet room. The laptops travel to the coffee table. Phones follow. One of the canvases Nora recognized leans against a chair, the catalog sticker still stuck to its stretcher bar. Noelle marks the timestamp beside the frame number. Inside the corporate bridge, General Counsel reads the list of immediate measures. Appointment on hold. CEO placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Litigation hold extended to all subsidiaries. Independent firm engaged under counsel. Return to the board at 8 a.m. Tomorrow with a status memo. The chair adds, coordinate retrieval of the art identified in Exhibit 12 through 16. Confirm custody with signatures. Maya watches the bait gate finish its work. Session closed, she says. He thinks he got something. He got the decoy and 6 canaries. She commits final hashes and prints the labels. Nora seals the drive, presses the strip flat, initials the seam. The house feels square, surfaces trued with a carpenter's rule. Luna turns over and sighs. Nora lowers the monitor 1 notch and lines 3 pens along the legal pad's edge. Noelle seals the envelope for outside counsel and sets it aside like a parachute she hopes not to pull. The kettle ticks as it cools. A boat moves, silent, across a sliver of lake on the camera's leftmost edge. Email lands with a restrained chime. CFO appointment, on hold. Another. Board statement, draft at dawn. A meeting notice flowers on Nora's desktop. Title, corrective filing review. She closes the Lake Travis window. The kitchen hush returns, thin and exact. In the quiet, a final ping arrives from the bait gate, and the cursor finds the corner of the send key again, steady. Morning edges into noon while the inbox settles. CFO appointment, on hold. Board statement, draft at dawn. The calendar tile for title, corrective filing review, sits centered like a compass. The kitchen hum returns, kettle ticking, monitor whispering, a distant truck downshifting on the street. Corporate fallout moves faster than talk. Harold is placed on administrative leave. The bridge announces an independent firm under counsel. Brandon's access is revoked, badge deactivated. HR schedules a termination conference and a collection of company property. Audit publishes a preservation notice across subsidiaries, freezes auto-deletes, opens a confidential reporting line. The draft statement reads clean and spare. Paperwork answers what shouting never does. Noelle files the corrective instrument. The county clerk timestamps the deed into Nora's name. A courier delivers receipts for the 2 canvases and the bronze. Signatures stack, stickers still clinging to stretcher bars. The college fund returns with interest. The chain of transfers unwinds in reverse like film spooled back onto a reel. Devices are bagged and logged. The bait gate's final pings fall silent. Orders climb. Investors who track governance call to ask about capacity. Nora opens a second clean fulfillment lane, publishes a 1-page policy on conflicts, and sets a weekly controls check. Trade press cover the board's response as a quiet case study. In comment threads, strangers argue about justice. The file names say enough. A quiet family revenge story, not spectacle. Weekend arrives without fanfare. On the Lake Travis deck, Nora spreads a woven blanket. Luna floats paper boats in a shallow dish by the rosemary pot. The phone sleeps face down. The camera tablet stays closed. Light pools on the cedar she sanded last fall and moves along the lime green door. In the office, a frame hangs beside a tidy flowchart. Subject: moving on. Below it, the pen she used to sign the beneficial interest rests on felt. Her routine is simple now. Backups checked, plants watered, breath counted 4 by 4. Some stories end with speeches. This one closes with custody, signatures, and a lake stilling under evening wind.